Spiritfarer. Spiritfarer came out last month, but I always had my eye on it. It's an indie game that plays sorta like a side-scrolling 2D platforming, micromanaging, semi-survival simulation. Kinda something like Fallout Shelter in a way, with stuff you need to build and NPCs you need to keep alive. Spiritfarer though is all about its story, its visual design as well. It's very well made and looks beautiful, with hand-drawn elements for the characters and the crisp 3D backdrops matched together. The premise of the game may come as a shock to you, but it's something that gets revealed at the start of the game. You're essentially taking the place of the boatman Charon. Yes, that Charon, ferryman of the lost souls of the dead. You play as a young woman named Stella, joined by her companion kitty Daffodil. Charon gives both of you the power of the Spiritfarer in the form of a magical orb known as the Everlight. With this orb, you can begin your journey to travel the seas by boat, exploring islands, meeting spirits, and inevitably helping them cross over. It's a sad realization that this is what the game is actually about. For something that presents itself so bright and colourfully, it's a story about love, loss, regret, tragedy, and finally death. Don't get the game's premise or message wrong though. The game feels surprisingly quite relaxing and fun to play. In a way, the knowledge that the spirits you meet have to leave makes it more impactful when the time comes and helps you appreciate the moments that you shared with them on this journey. Spiritfarer is like a Ghibli movie, specifically Spirited Away, I felt. The human NPC spirits that wander this world have a generic robed form, kinda like No Face. Once you find spirits that want to join you and need to pass on from this world, they actually reveal themselves to be animals. Not sure if this is some kind of embodiment or spirit animal representation of these spirits' personalities. Still, it's the most genius move to have them this way. These cute and hilarious characters, these lovable, diverse bunch of critters, work much better as animals. It makes it more magical, more quirky, just like Ghibli movies are. If they were just humans, I don't feel like I would have had the same attachment or have enjoyed the game as much. You start off with a dear lady called Gwen. It's pretty clear that each spirit has vastly different personalities, needs, and wants. Gwen is more than willing to be your guide on this journey and helps you out what you need to do as you begin. First, you need a boat to sail around on, and then begins the task of outfitting it. Everything you need will be on this boat, and you'll have to collect materials to build and construct all the amenities. During the day, you can set a point to sail to, and a projector runs the boat to where you tell it to. The boat cannot sail at night, as it's too dark, so you'll have to sleep till morning. Once an island is spotted, you can dock there and take your skiff to the shore. The starting islands have food items, stores, trees, and mining materials to gather. Your Everlight handily transforms into any tool you need for the job at hand, each task having a physical control action and input. Trees, for example, need you to move the stick back and forth to saw the tree in half, with Daffodil's help of course. Mining requires a button hold to charge a swing up to smash rocks in order to harvest the most ore from them. Islands contain materials, shops to buy more goods, sometimes spirits who want to sail with you, treasures to collect, and side quests to complete. Each island is where the platforming comes in, having places to explore, jump to, and most importantly, traversal abilities to unlock. Once you help a spirit for their unique quest, you're awarded an obol. Obols will then unlock shrines on certain islands that grant you new abilities. You can get abilities like a double jump, a glide, and even a dash. Game progression controls when you get these abilities, and once you have them will mean backtracking to islands to reach areas that you couldn't reach before. jumping on umbrellas to go high in the air, using your glide to float in air currents, or using a combination of dash and double jump to reach the furthest platforms previously out of reach. The platforming and material collecting of this game helps break up the game into enjoyable elements that flow nicely between calm and relaxing sailing across the seas, to then give you an exciting fresh new island to explore and platforming to go through. Not just limiting you to the boat, giving you a bit of freedom, instead of it being like an auto-scroller where it would just pull up a spreadsheet of the island's goods for you to mine or purchase on an arbitrary menu screen. That would have been so dull. Kinda how I felt about Fallout Shelter. When you leave an island, a little piece of surrounding area of the map gets revealed, giving you your next destination to sail to in order to find exactly the materials you're looking for. To begin, what you want will be stuff to upgrade your boat's structure and functionality. This will start off as increasing size to have more space on deck to build, and then it will be progression items that will allow you to sail through obstructions. This could be something like an icebreaker for the front of your boat, letting you sail through the ice barriers on the map. These obstructions gate the map off in sections, and mean having to find or complete things in order before you can progress to the next portion of the map. A subtle and constructive way to control progression and guide you through the game in the correct order. This also ties into the materials that control progression too. Using your workbench, you can gain some blueprints from spirits or treasures that will allow you to build stuff. Spirits need houses to live in, food to eat, tasks to occupy them, and to utilize their talents with. Spirits have mood, which you should keep an eye on, as well as trying to not let them starve. Giving them something they love will increase their mood greatly. Having their own room on the boat boosts mood as well. Some spirits don't get along very well with others, some even wanting to be placed in a room away from each other. Food-wise, it's best to try out feeding spirits foodstuffs you find in order to figure out what they like to eat and stuff they hate. This means having a large pool of food to choose from and having enough on hand to keep all spirits' tastes in mind. A kitchen will prove vital when trying to come up with new recipes for the food you find. Once the kitchen is upgraded, you can mix food together to make new meals. Every food takes a certain amount of time to cook in the oven, having a timer that will go off to let you know when the food is finished cooking. If you leave it too long, then it will burn and be ruined. Helpfully though, you can find a nice little old hedgehog lady that will take food out of the oven for you so it doesn't burn. A lot of the spirits are like that. If they're fed and happy, they will go use the facilities on the boat and provide benefits to you. Each facility is tied to a spirit and they will tell you how to make them and how to use them. Gwen likes to use the loom to make thread from fibers that you can then weave into fabrics. Atul likes to use the sawmill to make planks. Every facility you can use yourself and, like other activities, requires you to do little mini games to use them. The sawmill requires you to saw along a marked line to cut the most planks. The smelter, pumping bellows to keep the heat at a certain level depending on the ore you are trying to smelt. The most nifty thing about stuff on the boat is actually that you start making this little system that flows into all tasks. The sawdust byproduct of cutting wood will be able to be cooked up to make coal, which can then be used to keep the smelter running. Things get pretty crazy when it comes to how much stuff you can have on your boat, making for a micromanaging delight that becomes incredibly satisfying when you have your pattern down. You can have a seed garden, veggie patch, and orchard. Plants growing at different rates, needing water and having to be harvested, which produce food for cooking, wheat for grinding in your windmill into flour, fibers to make thread on the loom, and seeds to feed to cows, chickens, and sheep. Milk, you can milk from the cows, eggs to get from chickens, and wool to shear off sheep. So you get into this daily routine for each thing you do on the boat. Wake up, set your destination, and ring the bell to wake your passengers. Feed all the spirits and animals, get to cooking something, and do stuff while you wait. Water the garden, pull grown veggies, plant new ones, put some wheat in the windmill and position the blades into the wind. Pick fruit on the trees, top up the feeder, check on your food. Top up the smelter, cut some wood and cook some coal. Put milk in the cellar to start making cheese. Heat up some smelted ingots, go back and check on your cooking. Shear your sheep while you wait, then head back up to the forge to start hammering out some metals. I love how all of this works and even feels. You don't actually have to do anything, you can just sit back and try reeling some fish as you leisurely sail your way to your destination. But if you want to fill your time, you can. You can be efficient with your time as well. Why sit there waiting to reach your destination when you could be making produce and filling up your food stores? Why not check to see what you need for your next crafting project? Check your quests for things you might need, look around the map for a place you might want to explore next, or backtrack to. Plus, your spirit passengers will always have something to say to you. Might need some food, have quests for you to advance their storylines, or they simply might need a hug to brighten their day. The aim of your journey is to sail around to every location and event on the map, using the projector to scope out where you can sail to with the boat you have. This projector will show you events, islands, and important places on the map as you discover them. A lot of materials have to be found by going through certain environmental weather events, fishing spots, and many other things. Once you find the right spirit, you will unlock the event. Your frog uncle Atul, for example, unlocks the lightning capturing event when you sail through stormy areas. These little mini-games often involve running all over your ship to catch things, collecting crafting materials. Some are the most silly and adorable spirit ever. She has a backstory with dragons. I think it's actually a sad struggle with her inner demons, probably depression or anxiety, that she has manifested into a physical beast within this world. These dragons need to be saved in a little platforming minigame where you have to use the serpent's body to jump across in order to reach these ores on their body that you mine. Each dragon sits on a place on the map and are represented by their ore that they have, like a quartz dragon or a silver dragon. On the map there are fishing spots to catch tricky fish like tuna. There are storms to catch lightning in a bottle. There are comet showers that require you to rush about to collect the quickly disappearing materials. The only thing that I can tell you that is most important about all these events, well, the whole game even, there is no danger or threat to anything. You can't get hurt or die. There is no instance where this game will damage you. I don't mind this at all. It's quite relieving. Spiritfarer isn't about battling through things or creatures trying to kill you, and that's what makes it so great. There is so much to this game that delighted me. It wasn't just because it was simple fun that I could manage while I was sick. Just silly things that brightened my mood and made me have a smile on my face. Your Everlight transforming into oven mitts. That was so funny. It's like if you had some grand mystical MacGuffin granted to you for a sacred duty, and you end up using it for stupid menial tasks. It's pretty humorous. I love all the elements that combine to give you realistic things to manage, like barnacles building up on your ship. You don't actually have to clean them off, but it makes the boat look better, and you can get some mussels or oysters to cook in the process. When you find sheep and bring them back to the boat, without a corral built, they will jump around the boat and eat stuff out of your garden if they get hungry. Other stuff was just so endearing. Playing your guitar in this little rhythm button matching game to entice plants to grow, the cat singing along with you with its funny yowling voice. Just the animations for the cat, how it rolls along the water with its Everlight instead of swimming, how it curls up and goes to sleep or plays fetch with the orb like it's a ball of yarn. Something about the spirit animals, while obviously cartoonish, I love them so much. I don't know what it is about cartoon snake people, they just give me a laugh. Some are the hippie snake lady I could not keep talking to and hugging for no reason. Her little voice bites are so funny, oh my god. The way she moves and how her body coils through her robe to try simulate arms, she made me giggle. But that's how the game wants you to feel, right? You get attached to these spirits, they warm to you, let their guard down, and eventually reveal the true people they were and the story of how they died. It starts off all innocent and fun, just a fun little journey with your quirky buddies. But then the narrative all collects together to form something real and hard to deal with. Some spirits had sad lives that ended unfulfilled. Some were cut short, like the poor little kid who just wants to wake up to see his parents. Others' lives get revealed to be struggles against vices or illness, cancer taking them from their families, the last moments of their lives full of suffering. That's what Spiritfarer is. It's about you finding these lost souls, helping them find the person who they once were, letting them teach you about life through what they went through, all the facets and realities that make life so hard sometimes. They grow, they look at what lives they had and where they wish they did more or wanted to change. To then reach the point where they can't go on with you any longer, the pain becoming too much, the weight too heavy, the spirits so tired, and having worked through all that they could. That's when you have to help them move on, choose to let them go and take them back to the Everdoor where your own journey began. That's the hard part. It's up to you if or when you take a spirit to the Everdoor once they need to leave. They can be quite distressed and depressed while on the boat in the meantime, so they won't engage with you often, stay secluded in their rooms, and will mean they won't go and work on things like they usually would. That's the message, really. You're holding on to the people you love, people that you're used to having around all the time, but you have to learn to let them go. It's surprisingly difficult to let them pass on when the time comes. For a stupid, cartoony, bloody furry game, it hits you in the feels pretty hard. Sometimes though, it's not so bad, as you really feel like you did all you could in helping them move on to a better place. They will always be with you too, their houses being left on the boat for you to go sit in, their ghostly reflections waiting near the ever door, and their constellations being made within the sky that you can see each night as you continue your journey. So it's not so bad, and that's your job as a Spiritfarer after all. It's how you finish the game, so it's unavoidable. Especially as you can't progress the game without getting flowers from spirits who have passed on. I really enjoyed this game and can't believe how relaxing and fun it all was. Building, crafting, collecting and doing all the micromanaging of your little boat ecosystem was a treat. You have so much to do all the time and have a bit of creative freedom with what you want to build and how you want to organise your puzzle-like town aboard your boat, slotting all the odd shapes of buildings into every little bit of real estate that you have at the time. Organising things close together for ease of access or having crafting facilities next to each other when pumping out materials. Even making zip lines or bouncy platforms to be able to get around up and down your ship quickly. The only problems I found in Spiritfarer is that some materials are really hard to figure out how to get them. It's also hard to figure out which order to explore places, where to backtrack to find important progression materials, or just what spirits unlock what events and buildings. You eventually figure it out as you go on, but I did feel like I was a little lost at times, having to Google everything to find how to get materials. Another problem was that some spirits just wouldn't go make me anything in their free time. They collect the materials when you go on islands, but only a few spirits even bothered to help out. The length of the game was quite decent and I enjoyed it, but I did get into this mindless autopilot mode a few times where the monotony wore thin and the chores were wearing me out a little. Spiritfarer is probably better in short bursts or a game rationed out over your playtime. You can get lost in its simplicity and satisfying completionist mechanics, often becoming addictive. Just wanting to reach that last island, get that last material for a quest before you stop playing for the day. Aside from those few faults and pitfalls, I enjoyed the game a lot. If you like the strange and magical worlds from Miyazaki and his movies, this has that same vibe. Same type of epic, magical, orchestral music. Just wonderful and very moving. Such adorable cuteness with its pretty mature subtext. Memorable characters with some hilarious dialogue and stories to enjoy. Surprisingly good game that has a little bit more to offer than it first appears. Not at all a game for children like I first assumed. Some relatable struggles and issues from the animal spirits, so deep and thoughtful lessons to live by, and it's all wrapped up in this bright, relaxing, joyful, but heartfelt and painful journey of life and loss. Really good game, especially as it's on friggin' Game Pass.